Hi guys, I'm Ajia, if you didn't already know, and I am your Wellbeing Captain for 2020. So this video's purpose is to improve the health and wellbeing of Year 11 and 12 students. In March, our VCE Wellbeing Committee participated in Teen Mental Health First Aid training, where we got the chance to design an initiative and project to help increase the knowledge of mental illness and mental health, as well as provide you with the tools and info you need in the event that you or someone else needs mental health support. To help create this video, we've worked with Bayside Youth, Headspace, and also Connect Health. Here's Natalie from Connect Health to tell you about herself.
My name is Natalie Willis. I'm a Health Promotion Officer with Connect Health and Community. We're a not-for-profit health service just based over in Bentley. We've been funded by the beautiful people at Bendigo Bank. They have an amazing initiative to fund really cool community projects to increase the mental health and wellbeing of young people in our local community. We've been working closely with your team to develop a little video. We hope you enjoy this video and take care.
So what is mental health? A person's mental health is about the health of their mind, including their thoughts, feelings, and behaviours. Mental health can also range from good to when a person is generally content and able to do things, to poor when a person is unable to cope with life. This means that having a good mental health is more than just not having a mental illness.
To talk more about mental health, we conducted a Zoom interview with Danny from Headspace.
So, hi Danny, how are you?
Hi, yeah, not bad. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good, as best as I can be at the moment.
That's a fair answer. I get that.
So Danny, who are you and what exactly do you do?
Great question. I've been asking myself that for forever, I think. So I am Danny. I'm a community engagement worker at Headspace Dandenong and Headspace Narre Warren. So my role is going out into the community, providing mental health education and helping young people, basically.
Fabulous. And what exactly is Headspace?
So Headspace is the National Youth Mental Health Foundation. So about 15 years ago, Australia was looking at the stats on the amount of mental health issues present within young people and said, well, we got to do something about this. So they created a foundation, and as it stands today, I think we've got over 120 or 130 centres in Australia. And the key things that Headspace looks after, obviously mental health, that's kind of, in the foundation name. You've got physical health, we also look after as well, alcohol and other drug use, as well as study and work support. So we try to cover those 4 areas for any young person aged between 12 and 25 years old.
So how might we be feeling as a result of everything that's going on, like the pandemic and, revolving around coronavirus and, not being able to go out, what feelings are okay and, what is not okay?
So I think the key thing to keep in mind is that, and you all have probably heard this term so many times, but I want to reiterate it because I think it's important. So this pandemic is unprecedented, which means basically we haven't gone through something like this in our lifetime before. So we don't really know how to deal or how to cope with it. So when it comes to how we're feeling as a result of the pandemic, I think it's important to recognize that there are a lot of mixed emotions right now. So some people are really struggling with the isolation and not being able to do the things that they normally enjoy doing, and we're starting to slowly ease restrictions around the country, but we're still not able to travel interstate or anywhere else, like overseas. And there might be activities that you like to do, like sporting activities and things like that with friends. And so there's a bit of stress, I think, that's been experienced, particularly with young people. I think it's also important to recognize that some people are doing okay, they're feeling okay, and there's this weird sense of, well, should I be okay? Everyone else seems to be stressed, and I think it's important to make sure that all the feelings that we're having, whether you're feeling okay, whether you're actually doing really well. Some people thrive in online environments. Some people prefer the face-to-face interaction, and it's causing lots of confusion, I think, because people don't know what they're supposed to be feeling. So I think at the end of the day, it's important to emphasize that firstly, it's okay to not be okay. This is a time where it's perfectly normal to be feeling a bit out of sorts. But if you are feeling okay, that's also okay. And there shouldn't be any guilt, I guess, attached to that as well. So in summary, I guess all feelings are valid in this space. It's a really weird time. And yeah, we're just going to have to keep going with it as best as we can, I think.
How should we be coping, especially this video is meant for year 11s and year 12s, so our VCE cohort, but especially for year 12s, what are strategies we can use to help cope, I guess, with the grief and loss of the time of our last year of high school?
That's a great question. I think that's probably one of the tougher feelings to navigate, which is, on one hand, we're feeling all of these different emotions. We're trying to get used to the new normal, and then the new normal changes again, and then we're trying to get used to that one. But then the difficulty is, well, what happens when this is happening during a really key milestone, which is that year 11 and year 12 experience for people in high school. So I think, again, I want to emphasize that, so that, you've mentioned feeling a bit of grief or loss in relation to missing out on key experiences, time with your friends, time at school, the way that you planned for it to be. And there might be those feelings, those negative emotions, but those are also okay. And I think it's important to not try to push down those feelings. As we know, there are so many people around us who are feeling the same way. So it's important that we do talk about that experience with, and so if you remember back to our training, and the key things is always making sure that we're reaching out. So we want to reach out to a support system. That can be our friends, that can be our family. And if things are getting particularly difficult, so if you feel like you're reaching a point where you don't think you can cope very well on your own anymore, or you've noticed that things have been going a bit weird for quite a long time, then I think it's a great time to have a chat to a trusted adult. Find someone in your life that you feel comfortable talking to, and make sure that you give them the heads up, let them know you're feeling a bit out of sorts, particularly because the transition back to year 12 after missing such a big chunk, or back to from year 11, and you don't really know what you're supposed to be doing, and you don't know how you're supposed to be feeling. And I think having those conversations is going to go a long way to making sure that we really look after each other in this time.
What can we do to maintain a healthy headspace despite everything that's going on?
So I think the key thing, so at Headspace, it's a really funny timing, because prior to the pandemic, we had a campaign which was all about 7 tips to looking after and getting a healthy headspace, basically. And we've really been chatting amongst ourselves and with Headspace National. And the key messaging has largely remained the same. We've gone back to those 7 tips, and we've said, you know what, I think that these are super important to young people looking after themselves, regardless of the circumstances. If anything, it's actually even more important.
What are some of the common mental health problems that young people may experience?
The common mental health problems that we see with young people is still as relevant now as it was before the pandemic. But we noticed that the situation that comes with feeling disconnected from our friends and family, those symptoms probably a little bit more exacerbated in some people. So the things that we usually would look out for would include things like depression or depressive symptoms, and that's basically have you been feeling down or low or having sense of hopelessness for a prolonged period of time. We usually say about 2 weeks or so, where it just doesn't seem to want to change. And you're finding it also really difficult to do things that you normally enjoy that make you happy. Feelings of happiness feel like they're a lot harder to get. So that's one side. Another side, which is anxiety. So anxiety is relating to quite a whole body experience, as well as a cognitive, so our thought pattern experience. So sometimes we have, racing heart rate, we have, increased sweating, feel like we get clammy hands, we're feeling like it's almost like you've got feelings of nervousness, but there's really nothing happening that's triggering that. It's not like you're about to walk in front of the class and do a presentation. You've just got those feelings anyway, and they're coming out of nowhere. The thought patterns, so you can't seem to turn your mind off, you can't seem to quieten the mind and concentrate, so difficulties concentrating is really common. So I guess those are the kinds of mental health concerns that we see are the most active, I guess, and the things probably to look out for at this time would be if they feel like they just don't seem to be going away. And it's important to know that it might be related to things that are COVID related, like financial stress. This has been a really big thing, I know, for families. But for some other young people, it might not be anything to do with the COVID situation, but it doesn't deter it from being valid. We still want to make sure we pay attention to those young people as well.
So what if we notice these signs or symptoms of a mental health problem in our friends, and what should we do about that?
So I think if you're noticing that your friend is not acting the way that they normally would, they seem to be withdrawing, so they're not replying to messages as much, or they're not wanting to hang out, even if you are able to see each other, that the first thing is you might want to just be reaching out to them and just seeing if there's anything going on for them. It might be that something has happened, at home, and that there's maybe an explanation for it. It doesn't mean that you should stop being concerned. Go with your gut reaction. If you're feeling a bit worried, check up on them. The other thing is, if you're noticing that they've really withdrawn and you're really struggling to connect to them and see how they're going, it might be worth having, again, a chat to a trusted adult. So that might be, say, a teacher at school. It might be a parent of yours, someone that you trust. Maybe if you have a good relationship with their parent, you might want to give them a buzz and just say, hey, how's so-and-so going? I haven't really heard from them. And I think the main thing is, if you are concerned and you want to reach out, do reach out.
If you notice a significant change in people's thoughts, feelings, or behaviours, or even your own, it's important to seek the right help. This is extremely important, as young people are at higher risk to mental illness within Australia, with at least 14 people aged 12 to 17 years will experience a mental health illness. In your usual class of 28, that's at least 4 people. One of the things you can do for help with mental health problems is seeing a mental health professional. This could be a counsellor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or a case manager. Another support network that you have right here at Brighton Secondary College is the Student Wellbeing Team. For those of you that don't know, Student Wellbeing is located through the General Office and to your left. If you're ever needing help and you're wanting to go to Wellbeing but not sure where it is, just go straight into the General Office and let them know that you're wondering where Wellbeing is.
Hey!
Tips do you have when it comes to, talking to a responsible, trusted adult? Because it can be quite nerve-wracking to go talk to someone older than you about that.
Great question. I think when it comes to talking to, a parent, a caregiver, another trusted adult, about your own mental health concerns, so things that are going on for you, that you do feel like you can still approach the people that are important in your life and let them know what's going on for you. I think it's important that we always try to remind ourselves that this is a really unusual time. And so there might be stresses that you had been fine coping with in the past, but for some reason you don't feel as though you're doing as well right now. and that's okay. And so I think the main thing is still trying to get that support and trying to communicate the situation. So if it's attached to your studies, or if it's attached to feeling disconnected from friends or family, if it's attached to financial stresses perhaps, the key thing, I guess, really is communication. I know that sounds a bit daggy, but it really can help, because I think because it's such an unusual time, we don't really know what's going on for someone else. And so our parents and caregivers and the trusted adults in our life typically do want to help. But it's really hard when we don't know what's going on. And so a lot of it is maybe trying to find a quiet space that you can have a private conversation, because you'll be talking about things that are sensitive issues to you, that you know that they're not going to have to rush off somewhere afterwards, and that you can engage in that conversation and you can tell your side of the story. And that way then you can get that support that you're looking for without something else getting in the way. And I think the same message is for whether it's about concerns for yourself or if it's concerns for a friend or a loved one.
So when it comes to surrounding talking to a responsible, trusted adult, or just someone that you feel comfortable talking to, what do you do in the situation that, you know, that person doesn't really take you seriously, or you know, they're not really understanding of what you're trying to tell them? And like, where else can I go in that situation?
That's really tough when you do perk up the courage to have a chat to someone that about what's going on for you or about what's going on for someone else, and you don't feel like you're getting that support. So I think the main thing here is to, as difficult as it is, try not to feel too discouraged, and do feel like you can still try to reach out to maybe someone else in your life. The other thing that I would want to highlight here is that it's okay to reach out and speak to there's very many organizations out there to support young people. So having a chat to, say, someone like Headspace, there's eHeadspace, so you can go online and you can chat that way, or on the phone. You know, there's resources online like Beyond Blue, you've got Kids Helpline. Making sure to go out, search wide, get that support, and make sure that you don't let what's going on for you feel like you've got to push that away or set that aside because you didn't get that support immediately from the person in your life.
Where can we go for help, pretty much? Like, what online resources does Headspace have?
So Headspace has created a number of different online resources. So they've got fact sheets, so you can go onto the website, and it really tries to break down different issues, common mental health concerns, into things to look out for, where to go if you're looking for support. They've got online chat groups as well. So each week there are different topics that they'll have discussions, and you can jump on into an online chat with young people all around Australia, and find that sense of community that comes with connecting with other people that might be going through the same thing as you, as well as talking to a professional, but in a non-confrontational way, because you're doing it online, through chat, something that, you know, maybe might be a little bit more comfortable with. Other resources that are out there as well is your local Headspace centres. So many of the Headspace centres are still open and they're still running. And so you can give them a call and find out what their appointments are like. And nearly all Headspace centres are now offering online appointments. So you can do phone appointments, you can do online chat, you can do Zoom, or an equivalent video conferencing. So we can, and some are still doing in person as well. So find out what your local Headspace is doing, and find the option that works for you.
Yeah, and just a reminder, our local Headspace is Bentley, guys. Well, thank you, Danny. That's everything. That's all the questions that I have. But my last question for you, I guess, would be, you know, what tips, like just what message do you have to send to the Year 11s and 12s of Brighton Secondary College at this point in time?
Oh, putting me on the spot. Year 11s, 12s, Brighton Secondary College. Hang in there. We're in this together. So don't lose sight of the community that we're forming. We've got each other's backs, and we are going to get through this. And I want everyone to remember that. Look out for each other, support one another, and we're going to be okay.
Another way you can support your own mental health is by self-help activities. Here are the VCA Wellbeing Committee to show you some mental health tips and tricks.
Has been balanced and compassionate in your thinking. You may have heard of positive self-talk. This is the process of respecting your thoughts and giving yourself advice with respect and kindness you would use on a best friend. For me, when I'm feeling worried, I calm myself down by saying, this is really difficult right now. I know I'm feeling anxious. What is one small and easy thing I can do right now to help me feel productive? In doing this, you're acknowledging how you're feeling and encouraging yourself in a gentle way, which helps you unpack your negative thoughts and emotions.
Engaging in daily or weekly random acts of kindness will enable you to bring something good or positive into the world and give you some sense of control. Ideas include making a gift for someone, sending a kind, encouraging message, contributing to community support projects, or helping out a family member or friend in need. Hey Lou, you dropped something! Oh, thank you so much!
Spending a lot of time on screens can lead to a feeling of frenzy and stress. It is important to your well-being to find ways to deal with this. Some things you could do is you could practice some stretching or some yoga exercises, as well as breathing exercises or mindful meditation. These kind of activities will reduce physical tension and bodily symptoms of stress and can help clear your mind.
Next tip is improve the moment. If you find yourself being overwhelmed with negativity or worries, try and improve the moment by doing something nice for yourself. Whether it's watching a movie, playing a game, reading a book, doing something else you enjoy like one of your hobbies, or watching a TV show.
You're not a cop, so I'm not really sure you can help.
Okay, no hard feelings, but I hate you. Not joking. Bye.
Stay connected to people you know, obviously your friends, family and stuff like that. It's really, really easy to get lost in the chaos that is in here, whether that's stress because of school or just being cooped up all day and stuff like that. So it's really important to shoot someone a text and let them know how you're doing, or maybe ask them how they're doing as well. You never ever are going through anything alone. You can text them, you can use Snapchats or even Instagram DMs, Facebook Messenger if that's what you're into, or you know, if you're not really keen on the social media, you could always just shoot someone a text on iMessage. It'll help a lot to let things out rather than bottle everything up at the end of the day.
Focus on your surroundings, as the outside world can be really overwhelming at the moment, and focusing on something that's immediately in front of you can be a good way just to disconnect from the world for a bit. And no, this does not mean it has to be schoolwork or anything like that. It can be anything from a personal project like a painting, or just spending some time with your pets. Disconnecting from the world at the moment, even for 30 minutes, can really help with like any anxiety that you're currently feeling.
Taking control of everything. Taking control is making everything your own, from your bedroom to your study place, at your touch, and be responsible for keeping them nice. Every now and then, clean the desk, vacuum your room, or walk the dog. Whether it's learning or playing, create a plan and stick to it, and make sure you get things done on time. When you are in control, you are responsible and motivated to perform every task more focused and enjoy it because it's full of you. It relieves you from the daily stress of finding a purpose every morning and getting things done on time.
Next tip is about sleep. It's definitely a stressful time for us all, and it can have a really bad effect on your sleeping habits. You may start thinking you need to stay up late to finish off work and start stressing yourself to get it done. You could only be getting about 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night because of this, and I know some people that only get about 3 hours of sleep every night, and it's very unhealthy for you. Lack of sleep can also affect your learning ability the next day, and it'll be even harder to retain information. So instead of falling into this trap of staying up late, stressing about work, try to keep a consistent schedule, avoid doing your homework last minute, and try to implement a study plan to stay up to date with your work and not letting it pile up to need to be finished all at once. For sleep consistency, try to make sure you go to bed at the same time every night and aim for around 8 hours of sleep every night. This is the recommended amount of time you should be sleeping, and it'll also help improve your concentration and your productiveness. For your phones, make sure to switch them off and other electronic devices about 30 to 60 minutes before, as it can actually help you fall asleep quicker and won't be a distraction for your mind. So put your phone to sleep first, and then put yourself to sleep. And try to get those 8 hours. Don't stay up till 3 AM stressing about your homework. Your mental health is much more important. Thanks.
Stay active. Staying active increases the amount of endorphins in your body. This is a neurotransmitter that helps relieve pain and stress. They also stimulate the release of dopamine and serotonin, which are both major neurotransmitters that help regulate your mood. So try staying active by challenging your friends to a push-up challenge, or try an online fitness class, or have a Just Dance living room party with your friends and family. Also, try and get outside for some fresh air at least once a week. You can do this by taking your dog for a walk, or maybe even your younger sibling. These are all free and great ways to keep up your physical and mental health.
You don't have to work everything out by yourself.
Talk to someone who is trustworthy and experienced, just like me.
It may be a member of the wellbeing team, a teacher, or another adult you trust.
It's not a sign of weakness, but takes courage and strength to seek support when you need it.
You can also seek support outside of school through Headspace or Kids Helpline.
If you found this video at all upsetting or triggering, the wellbeing staff are always there at school to help you and support you, as well as other support networks that are out there.